Thanks for watching Here to Stay TV. I'm Glenn Haussman, and I have with me Mick Lee, and she is Managing Director of Arrow 212 and the founder of WINiT. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
So before we get into talking about Arrow 212, I want to talk about WINiT, which is the Women in Travel initiative that you put together. I'm curious to how long ago did you start it, and what was precipitating your desire to create an organization such as that?
It's something I've been thinking about for most of the last decade. What started me thinking is that in financial services, I was often on diversity and inclusion committees and networks and things to raise awareness as far as women development and promotion in financial services. What I recognized was that there was nothing like that in the hospitality industry. In 2013, I went to 2 industry conferences, both of which, including one that was 5 days long, had 0 women on stage. That was the catalyst.
Right.
So I wanted to start something. I wanted to first be part of something in the industry to change those dynamics, because we all know that about 65% of the workforce in hospitality are women.
Right, and it makes a lot of sense. And I'll tell you, I do a lot of speaking engagements where I moderate panels, and it is such a struggle to find parity on stage between men and women. And a lot of times it just makes me feel weird when they're all men up there.
Well, it's all about making sure that the panelists and the speakers represent your industry. And if there are all men, then they're not representing the industry that we are. I think that the thing that's important is if you're doing an airline CEO panel, you're going to have men because there are 2 women out there, and if they don't happen to be available, then you're not going to have women on it. But if you are having an airline CEO panel, make the next one maybe a travel author. Maybe it's going to be a female GM of a hotel, because there are those out there. Be aware of that diversity.
Makes a lot of sense. So you started the organization in the hopes to achieve the goal of that. So tell me a little bit about what that process was like.
Well, I started talking to people that I trust and believe in the industry, and I first looked to join something that already existed. And there are a lot of really great initiatives out there and women's groups that are out there, but there wasn't one that had the 5 things that I think are really most important, including men in the conversation, global, association agnostic, and making sure that it's women of all levels, not an exclusive club, and making sure that it's business focused. So that's why I started when it was January of 2014.
Oh, so it's pretty recent that you started the organization. I don't know if I'm delighted that you started the organization or a little sad that in 2014 that there was still a need for something like that.
Let's stick with sad.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we are needing this organization at this year is really unacceptable. But that said, the fact that we need it, we need to fix it. And I think that all of the recent news and media, and there's been a lot of discussions and talks about women leadership and women representation and promotion. And I think that's good just to raise awareness. The thing that's important about WINiT is that we're not for or against any gender. It's really about making sure that we're aware of 3 things: visibility, promotion, and development. And in hospitality industry where the women are already here, we've got to make it happen.
So I find it interesting that, you're coming from this point of view. Now, me as a 40-something male, I see it a little differently. I actually felt like I came up with a lot of strong women, not only in my personal life, but throughout my career. So part of me is like, why is something like this even needed? While also part of me is kind of like, I totally get it. And I don't know how to proceed. It makes me feel weird and uncomfortable, the whole idea of this.
I think the fact that you feel uncomfortable is good, because it means that we're talking about a topic that might not be easy for people to talk about. And let me be clear on something that's really important. There are strong women out there. So the women you grew up with are there. The goals that we have at WINiT are to give them the visibility, the development, the promotion that they need. And more importantly, there are strong, quiet women that are out there. And they are ones that may not put their hands up. They might be just doing what they're told. They might be doing something that they've always been comfortable with. Our job is to make them feel valued in their career, make them reach whatever goals that they want to reach. And that doesn't mean everyone wants to be a CEO. If you want to be the best account manager of a ground operator at the airport, we'll help you to feel fulfilled in that role.
Right. So how then do we go ahead without it being a sense of pandering, and because you're a woman as opposed to you're a professional that is developing?
That is a great question. And the reason is because of the approach that we have, because we involve men in the conversation. This is about dealing with statistics that are not alone to the hospitality industry. And we look at the baseline of 2013 with how many women were on stage at different industry events. Because we partner across many different fabulous associations, we are gaining the visibility that we didn't have before. and we're getting people and women talking about this, but men talking about it too.
Right.
And I think that the programming that we offer also complements the HR learning and development that some companies in the hospitality industry can't offer their employees themselves. And believe me, you're not going to attend a webinar or a education program for us that are about being a woman. This is about learning to be a leader and learning to be the best leader that you possibly can be. And a lot of men take those classes and take those courses. The biggest program that we've had the most amount of traction that Dawn Rapoli, who's the director of WINiT, has developed is the mentor program. And that mentor program has allowed us to connect women and men to whatever their needs are. It's a self-select automated program. So if you're a man in London and you're not connecting with your direct report staff that are in New York who happen to be women millennials, we'll connect you with a woman millennial to help you to be successful to forge that relationship.
Is there a generational thing that you're seeing? Younger men, it makes a little bit more sense. It's not as much conversation as it is opposed to just happening compared to older men, perhaps?
I think it's natural that it's generational, but I don't think that there is any one generation that completely sees it or completely doesn't see it.
Right.
I think that it is just like human nature. There's some people that really get it and some people that don't. And the people that don't get it, it's not as if they're against it. It's just that they don't necessarily have the level of awareness or the level of engagement to see this.
Right. All right, so one question I have is men and women typically have different interests in life, personal life and professional life, right? So it seems to me that it may not make sense that 50% of all Fortune 500 CEOs should be women if women aren't necessarily organically interested in going down that path. I see women seem to be more interested in marketing. Women seem to be more interested in design. Now, is that me being from a male point of view, or is that actually the reality of the situation?
It's a really great question, and it's very thoughtful. I think that diversity in thought leadership is going to benefit, and that's just not me.
Right.
Harvard Business School, there's been so many different reports that have illustrated diversity in thought leadership, which is not just men and women. It's background, it's educational background, it's experience, it's nationality, it's everything. I think that we stay away from having conversations with quota, with 50-50, with all of that. And we've got, believe me, a very long way to go before we even get close to 50-50. So let's let that be a problem that we need to talk about someday.
What advice do you have then, perhaps, for women seeking a lot of success in their careers?
I think there's a few things. Obviously, if you're in the hospitality industry, join WINiT.
There you go.
Okay. Outside of that, of course, it's raising your hand, it's being engaged, and it's the fact that keeping your head down and doing a good job is not enough. It is about getting involved, and getting involved might be helping to get some awareness of who you are within your organization. It might be volunteering for a volunteer efforts that they might do during the holidays. It might be volunteering for a project that's completely outside of your space because someone might see you in a certain way, and it's up to you to change how you are seen. So if you're typically doing financial work, then put your hand up for something in marketing. And a lot of that is going above and beyond your usual job description. But getting a mentor, getting an advocate, getting a sponsor, because none of us can get there, and none of us who have succeeded have gotten there without the help of others around us.
That's absolutely right. And one of the things that I've learned in my career is that if you get those older, more successful people to mentor you and give you that advice, it's not an inconvenience to them. They love it, and they will have a greater stake in your future, and it'll make them feel good, making you feel good.
You will change, they will turn in from a mentor into an advocate for you, right. Absolutely. And you know what, the biggest thing is taking risks, and don't ask, don't get. Yeah. The worst thing that can happen if you ask someone to be your mentor is that they can say, you know what, I'm too busy right now. But what they will likely say is, but I know someone who could do it for you.
Right. Excellent. So one thing I want to do is make sure that people inquire about WINiT and join WINiT. How can we find you and WINiT?
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. WINiT, and this is something that's really important. We started as Women in Travel, and we have since expanded to be travel, events, meetings, and exhibitions because all of hospitality is so closely related. And then we are entering into our 4th year. And one of the things we promised our members in year 1 was that we were not going to charge for membership or attendance to our meetings zero cost, until we were able to really prove ourselves and illustrate a return on investment. Actually, I'm saying this right here for the first time. We're announcing in the next 30 days a launch of a membership campaign that will be tailored around your level of experience and your ability to pay. And that membership program is going to be launched at the same time that we announce our 2018 summit location and dates. So stay tuned. We'll share the specifics with you first, of course.
Excellent.
And we'll be launching that soon.
Excellent. Hopefully I will see you at that summit in 2018. That would be great. I think I'm all about this now. We've been talking for, 10 minutes or so, but I love it. I'm behind it. And I want to thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Great. For Mick Lee and myself, Glenn Haussman, thank you for watching Here to Stay TV.